All right, guys. So this is usually called converting rate part 2 because it's the second day we're doing it. But of course, the last time I said we broke up the last two into two separate ones on block day, right? So I called that 1, 2. So we'll just call this converting rates part 3. But this is actually the actual real advanced math converting rates lesson. Okay, we took little bitty steps on the way here, along the way. So that this is actually what stuff like this is what you're going to see on your test. Okay, so we have no vocab because we talked about it yesterday. We filled it all out. So here is what we're going to do. Let's go ahead and take a look at our examples. And with our examples, I want to show you guys, this is very much like yesterday, but there are some differences. Go ahead and flip over to page 201, page 201. So the other day we were converting some basic units to other units. You're talking about if we go, so many miles per hour, how much is that in feet per hour, right? You change miles to feet, one kind of distance to another kind of distance when it comes to units. Today's going to be a little different. Today, you're going to see the same thing as yesterday in some ways, but a couple of things are going to happen. First, you're going to see some metric measurement with customary measurements. All right, so you talk about, if you don't know the difference, right? Customary is usually what, some countries use, but mainly in the United States uses customary measurements. We're talking things like, for example, gallons or quarts. Okay, but in other parts of the world, most of the other rest of the world, they're usually metric, which is things like liters or milliliters. Okay, same thing, and we still see liters on the shelf, right? So we do use some metric here, but basically what you're going to see now is a little bit of a conversion between customary and metric. Okay, so the two different types of measurements. Okay, you talk about something like kilometers. Okay, we rarely use kilometers here. We use the I don't want to say equivalent, but a similar measurement in miles. Okay, so anyway, with that said, page 201 is basically giving you some conversions there. All right, so if you take a look though, it's they don't necessarily have an equal sign there because usually the one with the large decimal is rounded. So if they put an equal sign, that would be untrue. All right. So they just put like a similar sign or one that is very close to being equal. Okay. So with that said, okay, I do want to point out, all right, as a little reminder on tonight's homework. Okay, problem 10 and 12, you're gonna go at those like we did yesterday. So that just make sure that you realize that. Okay, and let's go ahead and let's take a look at page 203 in our book. All right, and let's take a look at problem number 14. So here's what we have. Problem 14 says 4 liters. All right, similar to how many quarts? Now, there is a slight difference. We're actually converting some of these, but they're not always going to be unit rates. But it doesn't mean that the conversion changes, like the steps will change. All right? So here's what I'm talking about. So step 1 is, again, it's not a unit rate this time though, take what is given. In this case, it's 4 liters. And write it down. Okay, and then here's what I want you to do. Treat this kind of like you're multiplying a whole number, meaning put it over 1. 4 liters or 4 liters over 1 is the same. Okay. Now, step 2 is just like yesterday. What are we changing? What's changing? Okay. Liters to quarts. So guess what we're going to do? We're going to go ahead and we're going to write our unit ratio with the idea, right, of cross-canceling. That's our whole goal here. So let's go ahead and if we take a look on page 201, liters to quarts. Liters to quarts. It's under capacity, right? Because we're not talking about length or mass or weight. We're talking about capacity. And what are we talking about? Now, if you take a look, there's actually, they give you two different unit rates. They tell you how many liters there are per quart, but if you take a look next to it, it tells you how many quarts it is per liter. So you can go both ways. And actually, those conversion rates are going to be used the same. Okay, they could definitely be used the same way. So here's what we're going to do. You can choose whichever one you want. I don't think either one of them really matter. Okay, I mean, you can solve it either way, especially since we have a calculator. So here's what I'm talking about. I'm just going to use the one on the left. If you take a look where it says customary to metric, third one down, it says 1 quart is similar to 946 thousandths of a liter. So I'm going to go ahead and write that down. Now I want to put liters on the bottom. So 0.946 liters. On the top, 1 quart. Step 3, remember yesterday? Cross cancel. I'm cross canceling liters. That should be off. Step 4. Let's go ahead. Look what's left over. Well, on the top it is quarts. Bless you. Now what we have here is I'm going to go ahead, right, and step 4 is compute. So 4 times 1 is 4. 1 times 946 thousandths is 946 thousandths. Remember what we want, and this would be step 5. Put a little star by step 5 because, again, right, sometimes you have to do this, sometimes you don't. As a matter of fact, I think yesterday we referred to it as step star rather than that. We want to make sure that is 1 on the bottom, right, a unit rate. So on top, we have our quarts. Well, what are we doing? We are going to divide by 0.946 and divide this by 0.946. So I grab my calculator and say 4 divided by 0.946 equals, and I get a nice long number. So we need to make sure we look at the directions. Round, it says complete each conversion, round to the nearest hundredth if necessary. All right, so we have nearest hundredth, don't forget, is the second one over, but we look at the thousands, which is the third one over. So the 8 makes the 2 go up, so we end up with 4.23 quarts over 1, which, guys, because we're not talking about a unit rate, right? We're just finding out how many quarts it is. 4.23 quarts is our answer. And I guess you'd say that step 5 is make sure you just write your final answer. It doesn't have to be in a unit rate form, though. So if you take a look, a little different than yesterday. All right, some decimals involved because of the conversion between customary and metric, but the steps are pretty much the same. Now, here's the thing. I do want to point this out. If I would have used off of page 201, if I would have used the other one, I would have put 1 liter on the bottom and 1.057 quarts on top. Think about how that would have changed things. I would have cross-canceled my liters, but look at 1 would have been on the bottom. So once I got here, I wouldn't even have had to do this unit rate step because it would have already been on the unit rate because it would have been 1 times 1 is 1. Okay, so keep that in mind. You might, you can use either one. You're going to get the right answer either way, but sometimes one way is easier than the other. Okay, questions?
Wait, so choosing the one on the bottom is going to be most easier?
when you cross, because when you cross reduce or cross cancel, and then there's a 1 on the bottom, when you multiply, it's just going to end up with 1. Okay, so exactly. It would have been a little easier for you. You still have to show your work, but this last step, you won't have to do the extra division. Okay, any other questions? Okay, if you haven't already started, go ahead, try problem 16. Problem 16, go. Question? Okay, how many of you need more time? Okay. All right, check it in. How many of you still need more time? All right, about 15 to 20 seconds, and then I'm going to have you guys share. Okay. 30 seconds. Go ahead and share. Go.
I got 42 and 62 hundredths feet.
I'm not really sure, but I got 0.3 something, but I think
All right. So just looking for an answer. All right, so answer to problem 16. Okay, please, if they give the answer and it's not rounded correctly, please disagree with them if it's not rounded correctly. That's a big thing right now that we're working on. We're not going to have a particular lesson on rounding, but it is going to be integrated within our lessons. We'll talk about it. I'll review it over and over again, but I mean, rounding's important. All right, here we go. C39 is not in this class. All right, C6.
I got 42.62.
42.62, 42 and 62 hundredths. All right, what are the units on that? Well, it just, you're filling in the box, right? So it is just 42 and 62 hundredths. Agree, disagree? What do you guys think? All right, some agreements, some disagreements. All right, kind of almost 50-50 there. What else is out there?
42.63.
42.63, 42 and 63 hundredths feet. Agree, disagree with that one? Oh, okay. So it seems like the people that disagree before are now agreeing for the most part. So it looks like those are two of the most popular problems. So guess what? It looks like you guys agree on how to do the problem. We're disagreeing on how to round. All right? That's exactly what I was talking about. Guys, we have to learn how to round. Here we go again. All right? I'm going to go ahead and on problem 16, it is 13 meters. And we're going to find the equivalency for that in feet. So we have 13 meters over 1. That's what's given. We're going to multiply it with, and I look at my conversion of feet and meters. So feet and meters, right? We have right there, 1 foot is similar to 0.305 meters. Now listen, I'm going to put meters on the bottom. We learned our lesson a second ago. Now you could use that, but if you want to make it quicker, why don't we use the one where the 1 meter goes on the bottom? And in this case, the 3.279 feet go on top. Either way works, but this one is going to prevent us from having to reduce at the end. I'm just thinking ahead. Okay? So what happens is the meters cross cancel. What's left is, of course, our feet. Now on the bottom is 1 times 1, which is 1. And then here is 13 times 3 and 279 thousandths. So here we go. 13 times 3.279 equals, and we end up with 42 and 627 thousandths feet. Now this is the answer, but we need to round the direction, say, to the nearest hundredth. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the nearest hundredth, the 2. I'm going to go ahead and look at the neighbor, the 7. The 7 is 5 and larger, right? It's larger than 5 in this case. That means that 2 is going to go up. So we have 42 and 63 hundredths feet. And there's our answer. So congratulations on knowing the 7th grade and 8th grade skill, but you're struggling on like the 4th grade skill. So any questions about the 4th grade skill? I'm here for you. I'm your 7th grade advanced teacher, but I'm willing to help you with 4th grade math.
I know how to do it, but I think it depends if you use the 0.305 meters or the...
Did it come out differently? Did you do it?
Oh.
Oh.
So it depends which way you
All right.
use.
So we're saying maybe not everyone messed up on the 4th grade math. That could be a possibility, and that's why there's those equal signs aren't there, right? So that's good to know. It makes me feel better as your teacher that we know that some of us can round. Good job, guys. All right. Okay. Thanks for pointing that out, Mia. All right, guys. Questions on that? Now, so we're okay. Like if you did it this way and got 42.62, you know that you should ask questions right now, right? If you don't.
Yeah.
You're all right, though?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now comes the fun one. You ready? Yeah, I know. We're excited. All right, here we go. Page 203, let's take a look at number 26. Okay, now the steps are going to be very similar. All right. So here we go. We have 16 liters. All right. It's similar to how many cups? Okay, now, here we go. Step 1. Write what's given. So we have our 16 liters. We'll just put it over 1. Okay. Step 2 is going to be the same thing. What are we changing from what to what? Liters to cups. So let's go ahead and take a look. Liters to cups, liters to cups, liters to cups. Do we see it? No, we don't see it.
It's in the back of the book.
Is it in the back? Liters to cups.
Yep, it's there. It's not cheating.
Do we see liters to cups? Okay, let me give you a hint. It is not there. Okay, let's try to cut this. Let's make it a little shorter of a lesson here. Okay, it's not there. That's the whole point of us doing this problem. Okay, so, all right. So listen carefully. Step 2. This is also like we did yesterday or 2 days ago, a double conversion. This is a double conversion, but it's a little different than the double conversion you're used to. Okay? Here's what this double conversion is. We need to change. I'm going to go ahead and use the liters and pints. You know why? Because I know that there are 2 cups in 1 pint. That's an easy conversion. 2 cups in one of those little milk cartons, right? 2 cups in 1 pint. Okay? Now, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use the liters and pints first. And you say, but Mr. Wilkins, we're going to cups. Well, wait. I'm going to go ahead and multiply it. So 1 liter, just like we did before. Okay, I have the 1 on the bottom, liters, where I can cross cancel. And I'm going to put I'm looking at page 201, my 2.114 pints. Now here's what I'm going to do. I'm then going to get rid of my pints by doing a second conversion of pints and cups. I have 2 cups for 1 pint. I'm getting to liters to cups via the route of pints. Okay? So I'm going to take a detour and use liters to pints and then pints to cups. Okay? Now, I'm going to go ahead, and this is the advanced math one. This is what we're talking about. So here we go. I now have all my 1s on the bottom. That's awesome. I'm going to go ahead and do step 3 like we've done before. I'm going to cross cancel my units. Watch. Liters cancel out with these liters here. This pint cancels out with this pint. And look what I have left over. 1 times 1 times 1 on the bottom. But look at cups are on the top. And now I use my calculator to multiply all 3 of those numbers. So 16 times 2.114 times 2 equals 67.648. And since I'm rounding, and sorry guys, bless you, I just did step 4, which is compute. And then step 5, I'm going to go ahead and write my final answer. I'm rounding to the nearest hundredths. So the 8 makes the 4 go up, and I end up with 67 and 65 hundredths cups. Now you could have used quarts. 1 liter equals 1.057 quarts. And then right here you would have used 4 cups equal 1 quart. So I'm not saying that this is the only way you could have done it, but I'm using, like I said, I think that's the best way to talk about it, a detour how to get there by having an extra conversion as part of it. Okay? And that allows me to go from liters to cups by using, in this case, I used pints. Okay, questions on that? I'm going to have you try one. Okay, problem I want you guys to try, problem 28 on that page. 28. All right, go. Okay, how many of you still need more time? Okay, check in with you guys about 30 seconds or so. Okay. Anyone need more time? All right. Okay, anyone still need more time? Okay, guys, I'm going to give you about 30 more seconds before we share and go over the problem. Okay, guys, 30 seconds. Please go ahead, turn to your neighbor and share. Go. Please include what kind of detour you took to get there.
I didn't finish. Wait, let me check.
I got 0.7.
Okay, here we go. All right, for number 28, go ahead and check your work here. Number 28 is 200. I'll write it over here. 250 fluid ounces. We're converting it to, of course, we want to know how many liters. So we have 250 fluid ounces over 1. Now I'm going to go ahead and convert it to liters, right? So I take a look and I say, okay, well, if I look here, what do we have? We have fluid ounces to milliliters, right? But no fluid ounces to liters. So I'm going to use the milliliters and fluid ounces. Oops, not feet. Fluid ounces. All right, so if I take a look, there is, I'm going to try to keep this as 1 down here. So the fluid ounces, it's 1 fluid ounce equals 29.574 milliliters. Now what I need, of course, is my goal, right, is to get to liters. So I need to convert milliliters and liters. Do we know how many milliliters are in 1 liter? 1,000.
1,000.
So I'm going to go ahead and cross cancel my fluid ounces. I'm going to cross cancel my milliliters. What's left is my liters on top. Now on the bottom, of course, we have 1 times 1 times 1,000 is 1,000. On the top, we have 250 times 29.574, and we end up with 7,393 and 5/10. Now we do need to get the bottom to 1, right? So we're going to divide this by 1,000. And we get 7.3935. Okay, remember this is liters. Okay. And if I take a look, round to the nearest hundredth. So here's the hundredth. The 3 makes the 9 stay the same. So ladies and gentlemen, we have 7, bless you, 0.39. So 7 and 39 hundredths liters. Okay, questions on that one? You could do as many as you want, but just make sure that I wouldn't go too many though, but I mean there are more. And you got the right answer?
Yeah.
So it shares that you did it correctly, so you'll still get the right answer.
Did you multiply on the top one?
To get this, yep, the numbers just like regular fractions, you just multiply all the numerators and all the denominators. Okay.
If you change from 7,39
To this, remember we had to get like a unit rate here, or in this case just had to get the bottom to 1. So I divided by 1,000 on top and bottom. So I punched this into the calculator to get that. Because remember, the only way that this is a true statement or a correct answer is if it's over 1. Then that's your simplified answer. Okay. Now, here we go. Here's the one little thing I do want to talk to you guys about just really quickly. Take a look at page 204 and look up at the top, problem 32. Okay? It does say order each group of rates from least to greatest. Ladies and gentlemen, it's like anything else that when we order them, you have to pick one. You could change them all to ounces, you can change them all to grams, or you can change them all to pounds. It's up to you. Remember, it's like if you have fractions and decimals, you have to make them all into fractions or all into decimals to be able to compare them. So change them all into, the nice part is they're all per minute on that one, so that works. But you do need to change them all to one of those. Compare. Don't forget to write your answer in the original form. Okay.